This video isn't about balance nor meta. It's about a sad change in how Kuro decided they want to maximize profits, screwing their most passionate players. Not with power creep or overly specific niches, apparently that's not enough, but now also by directly attacking creativity, combat expression, and suppressing ways you are allowed to have fun with your characters, regardless of damage. For now, the problem is Kuro aggressively blocking quickswap, so if you don't interact with this mechanic, you might think this doesn't affect you. But you would be wrong for at least two reasons. The first one is that at least some light quickswap is way easier and more accessible than you might think, so even if it seems complicated now, you might want to try it in the future, and believe me, it's a lot of fun. But the second reason is that they won't stop with quickswap, because Kuro is blatantly showing that they are fine with overly restraining a character gameplay and tying it to a fixed, flatter, predetermined style, preventing you from exploring and enjoying more possibilities. This isn't a decision from developers who love the game and want to give us a great experience. This is a new enshittification philosophy directed by cold analysts, which aims at limiting and packaging the experience each character is supposed to give you in order to squeeze more money for the shareholders. If you love this game like me, you probably don't like this, and you should let Kuro know that you don't want this. I'll better explain in the video, but if you don't have time for it, please check out the comments. You'll find text to copy-paste as feedback to Kuro, or in case of Sigrika's Basic 3 as a bug report. For the latter, you can attach to it a screenshot of what you see on screen right now. You might think this is useless, but believe me, we can make a difference. We are the consumers. And I'm sure many devs aren't happy with these changes either, so any feedback we send is ammunition they can use to fight our same battle. So let's send them this feedback. To make everyone understand how bad it is, because I understand that to many this isn't very intuitive, let me tell you something about Camellya. She was released in 1.4, and her role, as well as the way she was sold, was that of a brain-dead, field-hungry hypercarry. Hold, attack and spin to win. Good AoE, very easy to play. You could use both 1-2-3 rotations or double intro ones, but regardless you wanted to stay a long time on field with her, and on top of that she had a passive that if you swapped out during her biggest DPS window, she would lose a ton of damage. It was the first time we had something like this embedded directly in a character's kit. The message was clear. Play her as a hypercarry supported by 2 fast supports, no second DPS, no quickswap. Still, the devs allowed her to do this. This was one of my earliest Wuthering Waves videos, and thanks to that tech, I was able to have fun doing stuff like this. Some of you might think that this quickswap tech is really powerful and could unlock some incredible potential, but the reality is that even speedrunners, as far as I could find, never used it. It doesn't seem a very effective strategy, and even in quickswap gameplay, no one quickswaps the spins. But still, the devs gave you the opportunity to do that if you wanted to. Not because you are supposed to, but simply because it's fun and part of the core gameplay. Because no, it's not an oversight. When you swap back, Camellya immediately spins again at full speed, even if she had basically stopped. When you stay on field, you have no way to replicate this, and it's such a weird and specific behavior that it has to be intentional. This was Kuro's philosophy. Even if the character isn't supposed to shine in meta through quickswap or to quickswap at all, if you really want, you can still make it work, because quickswap is a core feature of WoW's combat, regardless of meta. No matter if the final damage output is subpar compared to the premium hypercarry team, or if the strategy isn't that efficient, you can still do it, just for the sake of fun. And this is the problem, because recently it's like they don't want you, or almost they fear you having fun in ways you are not supposed to. I'm not gonna lie, I've been worried for a while about how the new Lahai-roi characters force you to stay on field and not swap. Linear Sparkle Collision requires a long charging, and you can't even quickswap the following attack because you would lose Forte. Aemeath had long animations which don't completely stop time, and Mornye can't be swapped out of her enhanced stance at all. But in the end, Aemeath was still given several swap windows, making her potentially a quickswap monster. Linear has a couple of fun swaps too, and Mornye's enhanced stance is actually really short, and in sweaty rotation she can still quickswap a lot. For example, to build extra concerto in order to skip the heavy inversion animation, or to feed an intro on someone else and set up her ground forte. All of these giving to even such a simple and apparently brain-dead support a decent degree of depth and flexibility. And then it came Luuk, with the most jarring quickswap restriction I've ever seen. Long story short, if you dare to swap out, his wall rotation progression is reset. It's not just a matter of losing some special buffs, like in the case of Camellya or Carlotta, and by the way he does that too, but he literally loses access to some of his best attacks. Basically half of his kit disappears into nothing. This is extremely different from the past, because Kuro, when they wanted a character to be at their strongest while easy to play, they would simply nerf the damage if he swapped out. This way, the casual player wouldn't be afraid to have to learn extreme quickswap to bring out most of the character's power, while the quickswap player could still enjoy the amazing combat system at its full potential, and if skilled enough, they would still be able to pull off competitive runs. This is basically how Carlotta worked. Absolutely brained character, you could literally play eyes closed, but still giving you the option to pull off some of the sickest quickswap runs ever without destroying the balance of the game. Maybe not a perfect system, but a pretty good one, like everyone was pretty much happy. With Carlotta was actually my first triple DPS team, and oh god, I had a lot of fun recording that. And that's why this swap restriction on Luuk is absolutely insane. In a game where players are already fine with very cheap passives like, hey, if you swap your damage is halved, you have zero justifications to put some crap like this for balanced reasons. Still, according to some Luuk players, he still has quite a bit of depth, thanks to his several combos and animation cancelled, so high profile players can still cope with that kind of skill expression if you want. But Sigrika doesn't even have that. Sigrika's kit has many similarities with Frolova and Bullying. You have to complete a basic chain in order to unlock a special attack which gives you tokens. Then you consume these tokens in order to unleash bigger attacks. Now, Kuro of course wants you to pull Chi-Yan for her, and as usual, she loses a ton of his buffs if you swap out. But if you don't have Chi-Yan, which means that you're doing less damage than Carlotta anyway, then it makes a lot of sense to quickswap each basic chain at least once. Not just because they take a while, but she also has quite sluggish animations and she's very easy to interrupt. The devs who designed her kit knew that really well, and that's why they gave her a very generous and also really funny basic 3 animation. I mean, look for how long I can stay in this animation before triggering the basic 4. I can wait whole seconds, and even if I move, the chain doesn't break, meaning that this attack was coded with the glaring intention to be a very generous and flexible quickswap window, like it's guaranteed 100%. But look at what happens if I swap out. When I saw this the first time, I felt betrayed and disgusted. Despite even in the content creator's media server, the animation worked fine, exactly like it was clearly intended, in the live version it was tampered with. I reported this as a bug, and I strongly invite you to do the same. You can screenshot the screen right now to attach it to the bug ticket as proof. Sadly though, I'm 90% sure this was done intentionally. Because look at this. The basic 3 animation is abruptly interrupted. It doesn't make any sense, it's not a mistake. It was done on purpose, to prevent you from quickswapping on a move that Sigrika's developers themselves clearly designed not just to be quickswappable, but a generous quickswap window too. Imagine how fun it would be, not just for hardcore players, but also for casuals too, especially for casuals. Because again, this was a super accessible quickswap window, with whole seconds of tolerance. Anyone could easily use it and enjoy this mechanic. But for some reason, some higher up shut it down. And not just that, they also hard-coded a swap restriction on Sigrika's basic 4.
What?
Basically, she loses the follow-up attack after basic 4. Like, it's crazy. Like, to make you understand how weird this is, it's like removing Frolova's incarnation if she swaps out, or removing Bullying's talismans if she swaps out before consuming them. Like, it would be really weird and excessive. But with Sigrika, they did it anyway. So basically, in the end, she doesn't have one single decent swap window in her whole basic chain. This sucks. It's blatantly against the vision of the developers who designed Sigrika's kit initially, and it's not a balanced necessity either, because in the meta, Sigrika is too reliant already on buffs lost on swap. Even Yumi, incredible player, in his hyper carry showcase legitimately recorded on the media server, doesn't use the basic 3 swap, despite there it still works. So why? Why giving us a shittier and more limited experience, even going against how the developers originally envisioned it? I can only see 3 reasons, and honestly, I can't tell which one is worse. The first is limiting the power of alternating quickswap teams without Chi-Yan. But Sigrika is already so bad without him that this feels overkill. Also, most people don't even quickswap. The second is flattening the character's depth, so that players get bored of it more quickly and are more incentivized to pull someone else sooner to get a novel experience. I can see that in Kuro's intentions, streamlining the experience each character is supposed to give you, but again, most players aren't really interacting with quickswap, so why going to such an extent when this mechanic isn't really affecting most of your market? No, there has to be another reason, a reason which actually touches the biggest part of the player base. And I fear to understand what it is. The third reason, maybe actually the most relevant one, is preventing anxiety, which could scare away potential customers. Wuthering Waves is as popular as ever, and many new players started playing recently, mostly attracted by, I'm speculating, amazing cinematics, the beautiful visuals, the people getting emotional over the story, not necessarily for the combat depth, and already among older players, only a few even quickswap. It's a core combat mechanic, sure, and I strongly argue it's what makes the combat of this game so special. Without it, you would just have mostly cool visuals, and that's pretty much it. But is quickswap a big selling asset of the game? In practice, I don't think so. Take Sigrika and think about her potential target audience. Now, if chill, casual players potentially interested in this funny character suddenly see other players doing some weird quickswap combos with her, they might think to fully enjoy that character they would need to do that too, and if it seems too complicated, they might just think, this character seems too difficult, maybe I should pull someone else. In other words, quickswap gameplay could discourage the chill players this character caters to. I'm gonna be honest. As someone who loves to share also the weirdest quickswap gameplays I managed to pull off, hoping to surprise and fascinate others with how incredible the combat in this game is, the thought that Kuro might look at this content with concern rather than with pride, it hurts me a bit. Not because I care about what the company thinks of me, but because I fear they are partially right. This game, as a gacha, gains the most money from impulsive players, the ones more likely to not plan or rationalize and instead react to vibes and seek immediate gratification. High-effort gameplay shown to many of such people can inhibit their willingness to engage with those characters, or even with the combat in general, because rather than giving it a try or accepting the complexity of a system which rewards different experiences depending on how much effort you put into it, they'd rather not interact with it at all and seek gratification somewhere else, in another character deprived of such complexity or in another game altogether. Heck, a very loud minority of players hates quickswap just for existing. They consider it an abomination and a mistake Kuro should fix. Indeed, these people would rejoice at this video instead of being concerned. And they would be fools, because not only quickswap is an extremely fun core mechanic way more accessible than many think, and if you don't care about it, it doesn't matter because endgame is already balanced around meta teams performing the 1-2-3 rotation. But as I said at the beginning, the problem with what Kuro is doing is way bigger than just quickswap. They showed they are willing to worsen their product if this can somehow squeeze more profits, in a blatant anti-consumer fashion. Today, they are blocking Luuk and Sigrika from quickswapping, forcing them to stay on field to complete their rotations. But what if in the future they do the opposite? Think about Changli, a hardcore quickswap character some players though enjoy playing as an on-field hyper carry, and Kuro gave her some insanely beautiful moves to make her work like that too. Now, imagine if she didn't have her aerial basics, which in quickswap you never use. And if every time you press her skill, she automatically swaps to the next character, like you're not allowed to decide, she does that on her own. Or more likely, what if they release another Xanthee? Imagine if Yuki needs a dedicated support, maybe a male, to even be able to do certain attacks. Or if half of Denia's kit doesn't work outside of a Fusion Burst team, and she's unusable if you want to stay on field for more than 5 seconds. You might think I'm exaggerating, but I mean, Xanthee exists. And the way Kuro cripples Sigrika proves a clear intention of streamlining the combat experience each character is supposed to provide. I don't need to convince you, like the proofs are staggering. So if you're not a fan of this, please let Kuro hear your voice. I'm sure many devs aren't happy about this direction, so each feedback we send is a gust of wine the devs can use to steer the ship to a more player-friendly course. I could end this video here, and maybe I should because it's almost 14 minutes, but I want to say something else. With this video, my channel is going to reach 1000 subscribers. This is not the video I wanted to reach this milestone with. I wanted to talk about Sigrika's quest, or showcase some other crazy quickswap team, or make one of the several combat guides I've been postponing for so long. Instead, I used the little time I have to make this video and spread this message, because I think it's important, it's urgent, and it's serious, for all the people who love and enjoy this game. But most importantly, if I didn't make this video, who would? Why am I the only one talking about this worrying change in Kuro's behavior? Why am I the only one addressing how harshly they are restricting quickswap and gameplay in general? I've been posting for half a month about this problem anywhere I could, and I even tried to reach out to a few creators. But where are the creators? Me? I'm a no one, usually making a few hundred views per video, posted once in a blue moon. I shouldn't be the one making this video. It should be someone more influential, more appealing, with better English, better editing, someone more. This video is too important, so I had to make it. But I'm not enjoying making it. Even right now, recording my voice, I'm not having a good time. But I know that I will be glad that I made it, and I didn't give up. At the end of the day, this is just a game, right? There are more important things to care about. Still, I really like this game. That's why I care. That's all.